Samach Amid base. We'll begin Daf Samach Amid Aleph, 2 lines from the bottom. We learned previously a Machlokes Rabbi Yehuda ben Nechemia. The Brisa said that Kol Ma'aseh Yom Kippurim Amor al Seder. All of the Avodas Yom Kippur that were mentioned in the sequence, if you change the sequence and make the Masa L'Chavera, then Lo Yasa Klum. Then it's not valid. So if it was done out of order, it's not valid. Now Rabbi Yehuda says, when is this mentioned? That's B'dvorim and Nasim Bigdei Lovan Bifnim. That's only the things that are done, the avodas that are done with the Bigdei Lovan that the Kohen Gadol wears, the special Bigdei Lovan of Yom Kippur, Bifnim, that are done in Bifnim. As we learned, there was a machlokes. What does Bifnim mean? Rashi says in the Kodesh Kodashim, the Rambam holds that it means even in the Heichel, but not outside, not in the Azor. But Dvorim and Nasim Bigdei Lovan Bechutz, but Rabbi Yehuda holds that even if they're Bigdei Lovan, but they're Nasim Bechutz, like the Hagrola, Vidoy, etc., Shvichas Shiraim, he holds that if you mock them, if you do it out of sequence, then it's still also it's valid. That's what Rabbi Yehuda holds. But Rabbi Nechemia says that no, it's even mentioned by things that are avodas that are done by Bigdei Lovan, even Bechutz, even avodas that are done Bechutz. If they're done in Bigdei Lovan, then it's not, if it's out of sequence, then it's not valid. So the Gemara says now, explains the machlokes, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, which name Mikra Echad Dirshu. They both darshaned it from the same pasuk. The pasuk says, V'haisa zois lachem l'chuka soilam achas b'shana. So the pasuk says, "V'haisa zois lachem," that this should be for you, l'chuka soilam l'chaper al bnei Yisrael mikol chatoisam achas b'shana. V'yaz kasher tziva Hashem es Moshe. So it says that this should be for you a chukah. Now, when the Torah says chukah, that means it's ma'akiv. It's chukah. It has to be done dafka this way. Now it says achas b'shana, once a year. So what does the chukah, where it's ma'akiv, what is that referring to? What is it referring to when it says the chukah? So Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's referring to Makam Shemiskaper Boy Pamachs B'Shana. It's the place where the kapor is done only once a year. That's on Yom Kippur when it's done once a year. Where is that place? That's in the Kodesh Kadoshim. So where the avodas that are done in that place once a year, the avodas that are done in the Kodesh Kadoshim, the Hainu, Bigdei Lovan Mibifnim. So that's where you say that it has to be a chukah. It has to be done in the proper sequence. Rabbi Nechemia Savar, he holds that Dvorim Hamiskapim Ben Pamachs B'Shana. It's the avodas which are done once a year. The avodas that are done once a year, meaning the avodas that are done with a Bigdei Lovan, are only done once a year. Whether it's Bifnim or Bechutz, that's only done once a year. So on all of those avodas that are done with the Bigdei Lovan, it's chukah, it's ma'akiv, the sequence is ma'akiv. Frag the Gemara, how can you say that that's the pshat in Rabbi Yehuda? Rabbi Yehuda Makam Ksiv. According to Rabbi Yehuda, does it say Makam? It doesn't make any mention in the pasuk of the place. It doesn't mention the place in the pasuk. So why should we say it's referring down to the place? Ella Gemara says Enechanai. Hi, no time of the Rabbi Yehuda. This is the reason Rabbi Yehuda Ksiv Zois Uksiv Achas. It says Zois Lachem. And it says Achas B'Shana. So Zois is also a miyut. So it says Achas says once, but it also says Zois. This. So Chadli Mute Bigdei Lovan Bechutz. So one is to be Mayit Bigdei Lovan Mi Bechutz. V'Chadli Mute Bigdei Zov. And one is to be Mayit Bigdei Zovan. Bigdei Zov. So it says that it's only things that are done once a year. So that's only Bigdei Lovan. It's only done once a year. Bigdei Zov is done the rest of the year, but it's once a year. Where does it say chukah? That it's ma'akiv. The sequence has to be in this order. You can't deviate. Those are things that are done once a year. That's Bigdei Lovan. And it says also zois. This, it's a limiting factor. This is done. So it's mamayit. It's not all Bigdei Lovan. It's only what's done mibifnim. Rabbi Nechemia, he holds no. Chad limute Bigdei Zahav. One is to exclude Bigdei Zahav because Bigdei Zahav is not only done once a year. So there, the sequence is not ma'akiv. V'chad limute shirayim d'loy ma'akiv. And the other is to be ma'id shirayim, that the shirayim, that's not ma'akiv. that therefore if the shirayim were done out of sequence, the pouring of the remnants to the base of the mizbeach, if that was done out of sequence, it's not ma'akev. The Rabbi Yehuda, and Rabbi Yehuda says no, ma'akev. If other avodah is done b'big day love b'chutz, if it's ma'akev, then the shirayim are also ma'akev. There's no reason to differentiate. If they're ma'akev, this is also ma'akev. And if other avodas b'big day love are not ma'akev, then this is also the shirayim are also not ma'akev. There's no reason to differentiate between the pouring of the shirayim and the other avodas that are done b'big day love b'chutz. It says v'chila mekaper as a kodesh. It says that he completes the kapora of the kodesh. So the pasuk says v'chila mekaper as a kodesh ves oil moed ves mizbeach v'hikar ves asoyer achai. So it says v'chila mekaper as a kodesh. So we darshan im kilo kiper kilo. If the kohen has done the kapara, if he does the hazos of the dam, the blood application, then kila, then he's finished the avodah. Being loy keeper, but if he's not completed all the hazos of the dam, loy kila, he has not completed his avodah. Div Rabbi Kiva. Omer loy Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, why don't we say no the other way? Im kila, if he completed all of the hazos, keeper, he's done the kapara. V'im loy kila, loy keeper, and if not, he's not a keeper. What does that mean to teach you? She'im chiser achas mikol matonos loyasav loy klum. That if he has not completed all of the kaparas of the hazos, if he's missing any of the hazos, then he has not done anything. He has not accomplished anything. Im kila. Keeper, if he has done all of the hazos, he's performed the kapara. If he hasn't completed all of the hazos, he has not performed the kapara. And we asked, what's the nafkamina between the two approaches? Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Shimon Levi, Chad Amar, one says, Mashmois Darshanik Beinayu. One says there's no nafkamina lahalocha, but it's the way to darshan it. What is the more clear way to darshan the pasuk? So on that, Rabbi Yehuda says we should say it's more clear to darshan it im kilo. If you completed the hazos, then keeper. That more clearly demonstrates that you must complete all of the hazos, and if you're missing any one of them, it's like keeper. But it's mashmois darshan beinayu. Mashmois darshanik beinayu. It's only the way to interpret the pasuk. That's what one says. But if Chad Amar, no, there is a nafkamina. Shiroim ma'akvik beinayu. The nafkamina is if the shiroim are ma'akv. So Rabbi Kiva says if the kohen, if he does im kiper, if he does the kapara, meaning the hazos adam kilo, even if he didn't do the shirayim, but he did the kiper, the hazos adam, then kilo, then he's completed. Even if he didn't do the shirayim, it's not ma'akiv. But Rechemia says no, you should darshan it the other way. Im kilo, if he does all of the blood applications, including the shirayim, then keeper, then you have a kapara. But if you're missing even the shirayim, then you have not completed it. Did Rav Yochanan say that according to Rav Nechemia that the shirayim, that the pouring of the shirayim is not ma'akiv? V'amar Rav Yochanan, he says, Tana Rav Nechemia k'divrayim l'shirayim ma'akiv. He says that Rav Nechemia taught according to the one who says shirayim is ma'akiv. So you see that Rav Yochanan himself says that he holds that Rav Nechemia says that shirayim are ma'akiv. So, therefore, you can't say that that's the explanation of it. You wanted to say that, according to Rav Yochanan, that he learns in Rav Nechemia, that when the pasuk says Zois and it says Achas, that one of it is to be Mamayit Shirayim, that, according to Rav Nechemia, that one of the miyutim, we're not Mamayit everything that's done b'chutz. One is to be Mamayit, according to Rav Nechemia, Lachad is Lemut Big Day Zav. That things, avodas that are done on big day zov, the sequence is not ma'akev. And the second miyud is not to be mamayit big day lov and bechutz, because when Nechemia holds big day lov and bechutz, the order, the sequence is ma'akev, is lemut shirayim. But you see over here that Rav Yochanan himself says that according to Rav Nechemia, shirayim are ma'akev. So therefore you cannot interpret it in that way. It's a kasha. Omar Rabbi Chanina Ketayra Shechafna Kodim Shchitos Shel Par. The proper sequence is that first there's the shchita of the par, and after that is the avoida of the keteris, the chafina, scooping up the keteris and burning it. If the keteris was done before the shchita of the par, lo yasv klum, then nothing has been accomplished. It's done out of order. Kiman. So who's this going according to? The like Rabbi Yehuda. This apparently is not like Rabbi Yehuda. The Rabbi Yehuda. He said, where it says chukah, that the sequence is ma'akev, that's dafke b'dvarim and asim b'gdei lavim b'fnim u'dechsiva. It's only things avodas that are done b'gdei lavim b'fnim, not mi-b'chutz, and this is done mi-b'chutz. So the shchita is done mi-b'chutz, and therefore it should not be ma'akev. The Gemara says, afilu tema Rabbi Yehuda, you could say it is going according to Rabbi Yehuda. Tzarech pnim ke pnim dami. This is tzarech pnim. You need the shchita in order to do the avodah of the hazos, which are done b'fneim in the Kodesh Kadoshim. So this is considered tzarech pneim, and therefore the sequence also would be ma'akev. So now we learned in our Mishnah, im achloi gomer matonas sheb'fneim nishbach adam. If prior to him completing all the matonas b'fneim, the blood spilled out, yavid dam acher, he has to shecht another behema and bring another blood. He has to go back to the beginning and start from the beginning. He can't just go and start and continue from where he left off. He has to start from the beginning. Navi Misa, if you're telling me that this is so, that it's considered to be the chafina is not done properly. So now if this is the case, if he has to now do the shchita and he has to now shecht from the beginning, he has to take another par and shecht from the beginning, then v'misa yachzer v'yachman miboile. He therefore has to shecht another par, and after the shchita of the par, he has to now go and do chafina again. Because if you're telling me that the out of sequence between if he does the chafina before the shchita, it's invalid. Well, over here, since he has to start the shchita again, so beforehand, he did the shchita of the first par. He shechted the par, he did the chafina. Now, if you're telling me he has to start all over from the beginning, well, the chafina that he did after the shchita of the first par is not valid. He has to shech, and he has to now do chafina again. So, yachsav v'yacham boile. More says, "B'keteres lo kamayri." And echanami, it is true. It is true that he has to do that. But we're discussing over here the avodas of the behema, of the korban. We're focusing on the behema, not on the keteres. But it is true that he has to, and echanami, he has to do the keteres. Rashash asks, perhaps we're talking about here the blood spilled. We're talking about the blood of the sawyer, and if it's the blood of the sawyer, then it wouldn't be a problem, because the blood of the sawyer, the shchita of the sawyer comes after the chafina, and so therefore he would not have to repeat the chafina again. What tells us that he specifically are talking about the dam of the par? Rashash answers, he says that in Chanami, but if that would be the case, it should tell me the chiddush of that by the par. In the case of the par, you would have to do the chafina all over again. So theoretically, yes, by the sawyer, he would not have to do the chafina again. But if it's telling me over here that you have to start all over again and you have to repeat it, then it should tell me the case of the par and you have to do the chafina all over again. So therefore, the Gemara answers is that we really, in the case of the par, you do have to do the chafina all over again, but we're not focusing on the keteres. We're focusing now on the avodas of the behema, of the korban.